Check out this clip from Pressbox Access host Todd Jones' conversation with legendary sportswriter Mike Vaccaro. Mike discusses his experiences covering one of the greatest rivalries in sports, Yankees Red Sox.
You can't be a New York Post columnist without being asked about Yankees Red Sox. You've written so much about it. You've actually wrote a book, Emperors and Idiots, about the history of the rivalry.
Yep.
You know this rivalry inside and out, and you
Mhm.
covered some iconic moments and saw great players. When you think about all the years of writing about Yankees Red Sox, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Maybe a story behind the story.
So the Yankees obviously have that 3-0 lead in 2004, and the Red Sox come back and they have the most incredible comeback in sports history. Of course, in New York, we consider it the greatest choke job in sports history. And so, by the ninth inning, most of the Yankee fans had cleared out, and so somehow Yankee Stadium was throbbing with Red Sox fans. Thank you, Red Sox. Thank you, Red Sox. And they wouldn't leave. Trot Nixon came out and showered him with champagne. And, here came Johnny Damon, did the same thing. They all did, and they wouldn't leave. And somebody went to George Steinbrenner's office, and Steinbrenner was, furious, of course. But they said, "Boss, we're going to clear these people out. They won't leave." And George Steinbrenner, who probably hated the Red Sox more than anybody ever born, said, "You know what? They've earned this moment. Let them stay."
Really?
which I thought is one of the coolest. Bill James told me that story, which is great because I was able to, that was, and I believe that was actually the final line of the book that you referenced. And it's like one of the great quotes, even if it was given me secondhand. And later on, I confirmed it with George. He was always a guy I enjoyed talking with on the phone. Um, but, uh, but I think that just shows you not just the mutual contempt they have for each other, but also the mutual respect. And what I always found funny, I mean, I assume it's probably like this with Ohio State, Michigan. I know it's like this with Army Navy just because I cover that rivalry a bunch. But when players first come into the Yankees Red Sox or those other rivalries I talk about, they're like, well, you know what? I don't understand because the Red Sox would always say, I've got nothing to do with Johnny Pesky holding the ball. I mean, my father wasn't born yet. How can I? And it's only after they get into it, they realize and they see the fans and how much it means to fans and how much it means to. Then all of a sudden they realize, oh yeah, this is not something that's made up. This is real. This is something that matters in a way that other games don't matter. They just don't. I mean, I don't know that it's necessary. I don't think it's necessarily true. Probably that a Ohio State coach could go 1-12 as long as the win is against Michigan. I do think that at Army, if you only won 5 games in 5 years and all 5 of those wins were against Navy, you might have a shot, which tells you about that rivalry. And of course, it wouldn't be the same way with the Yankees or the Red Sox either. But um, look, I mean, the one thing the Yankees had over the Red Sox was um, that for almost a century, they believed that that the good things were going to happen to them and bad things were going to happen to the Red Sox. Yogi Berra would come to every Game 7 or every important game between the Red Sox and the Yankees and just walk around the room and tell Bernie Williams and Derek Jeter, these guys don't beat us. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. And he was always right until 2004. And I'd be remiss if I didn't share this one story with you, which is different. So I'd written that book, and it was almost done in its entirety, and it was pretty much a history of the Red Sox Yankees rivalry, but told through segments of the 2003 season, which kind of underlined everything that I was talking about, right? Because they wound up winning on Aaron Boone hitting a home run, of course,
Mm-hmm. Right.
and the Red Sox blowing a big lead in Game 7. And so uh, that's what the book was supposed to be founded on. All it needed was about a 4,000 word epilogue based on like what happened in 2005. Boom, we're in. And of course, the Yankees go up 3-0 on the Red Sox, so this is just perfect. I've already spent the money on my condo at the Hamptons that I'm going to buy with all the royalties from this book, and the publishing house couldn't wait. It was going to go. Of course, I go up 3-0. Go up in they're up in the ninth inning, Game 4. I am just perfect. And of course, they blow Game 4. And my friend George King, who covered the Yankees for many years, and cantankerous, wonderful man. And he turns to me after when he saw that I was a little bit glassy-eyed when the Yankees lost, and he said, don't worry about it. That's one game. They'll win tomorrow. You're good." Game 5 comes. Yankees are up in the eighth inning. Red Sox come back again, win in extra innings. George turns to me at the end. He's like, "Going to Yankee Stadium. It's all good. Don't worry about it. You're fine." Game 6 happens. Crazy game. The A-Rod slap game. All that nonsense happens. They call a home run, bring it back. George turns to me and says, "You might have a little bit of trouble." Game 7 happens, and Kevin Brown has thrown his 4th warm-up pitch. And George turns to me and says, "You're effed." And he was right. And so I had to rewrite about half of that book. So that comes down to about 50,000 words in 3 weeks. So you talk about someone who's not bothered by deadline. If I were bothered by deadline, I would have been able to do that. And you know what? I can tell you, I can sit here 20 years later and tell you it was a better book as a result. But, you know, I didn't get my house in the Hamptons. There were about 1 million Red Sox books that came out to flood the market. So it was an interesting experience, but a great experience. And just those 4 nights with George made it all worthwhile.